So for context, the Momentum Mastermind that I have is a 6-month program in teaching people how to build out a team legally and profitably. The members that we have in there are a wide range of people who have never hired their first team member to one of them has 2 salons with, I think, 11 team members. So she's well-versed in all of the legalities. But where we start in that program is, here are the legalities of what you need to know. Now, you're not going to know every law. And especially if you're in places like California, they change the law every 6 hours, I feel like. So at some point, you're going to want to outsource the HR component of it for you to stay compliant and just have somebody give you the Cliff's Notes of what you need to do to stay compliant. Where the biggest pieces for you to know is, how do I take my current team member and pivot her into a W-2, because your expense is going to go up because you're going to pay a portion of her taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So again, your accountant can help you with this, but it may mean a pay cut for her, which can be scary. What is she at commission?
Yes.
And how much commission?
45.
Ouch. Yep. So this is also why it might be a little tough for you to get profit off of a team member, which is what should be happening, because 45% of sales, yikes. However, if you look at it from her perspective, because we're going to have to convince her that taking a pay cut needs to happen in order for her to stay employed, she will not owe self-employment taxes come next tax season when she converts to a W-2. So she may not be aware of that, but I mean, hopefully she would. It's tax season right now, is when you're a 1099, you owe all of your taxes.
Yeah.
So there's other things that as the business owner, you're going to start providing for her that she is basically on the hook for now that she's probably not aware of. So that means that you're going to have to pay into workers' compensation when you have a team member. So right now, if she gets injured, she out of money. When she is an employee as a W-2, if she gets injured, she can collect workers' compensation and still get paid and still have job protection. So that's another benefit. While yes, she's maybe taking less cut, she has more stability and security in her job because you as the employer are taking on a lot of the risk. Another thing is insurance wise. She's a 1099. If somebody slips, trips, and falls, they can sue her directly and take everything. She's probably not an LLC, I would assume. And so when she becomes a W-2 of the LLC, it's the LLC that protects her as an individual. So she is never at risk for a lawsuit individually because she is under the umbrella of the LLC for liability insurance.
So she does have LLC and insurance.
Okay. So when I've worked with women doing this in the past, there's usually 2 ways that we go about this to make it, depending on however the team member wants to go. You can present her the offer of what you're able to pay her, that you're still profitable. Now, chances are with where you're at, you may end up offering her a higher rate than what you would somebody new coming into the team, because she's so used to a certain pay level and you're trying to keep her on as a team member, but it will be lower than what she's receiving now. And honestly, the way that I teach to it is do a flat hourly rate and then a performance-based incentive structure where she can earn more money as the business grows, but that your payroll is consistent every month because she's an hourly employee. Most people won't do that because they're afraid that the team member is going to leave, but those are team members that are going to leave irregardless if money is the only motivating factor that they're working for you.
Right.
So if you did just commission, you're going to owe her minimum wage regardless. She has to make, and I don't know what the laws are in New Jersey, so you need to understand like how to pay people legally in New Jersey. Like in California, you can't pay someone commission unless they're making at least double minimum wage. So it doesn't make sense to do commission in California. I don't know what Jersey is. It may not even be that complicated, but either way, she's owed minimum wage, whether she's taking clients or not. And then on top of that will be her commission, if you want to keep it commission. Alternatively, is to turn her into what essentially is a true 1099, which is essentially she is a booth renter. She does not work for you. You do not control her hours. You do not collect payments for her clients. Her clients are owned by her, not the business. And she runs her own business and basically just pays you rent every month. And that would be a true 1099 model. So that would be something, once you determine what you can pay her, you can say, okay, we need to sit down. We need to get this legally structured. Here's what I'm offering you. you can work for this rate and become a W-2 employee, and this is what we can work out for you. Or if you want to stay here, that's fine, but we're going to turn you into basically a booth renter, and this is what your rent every week or every month is going to be. And she may choose neither of those and leave, and that's up to her.
Booth renting is illegal in Jersey, right? I believe so.
Do they have salon suites?
They just opened up some, yeah.
So that's essentially what you're creating. So I don't know what the legalities are or what, I'm unfamiliar with that law, but again, an attorney can advise you on this because I'm not one. Are you inside the Facebook? Are you a society member?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I was gonna say you could ask in the Facebook group. Yeah, I don't quite know what legalities are. It would be odd that it would be.
Okay.
Essentially, you're just subletting a space.
Okay.
So yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. But figure out what you can offer.
Okay.
So yeah, so what's coming up for you when you look at W-2 versus booth renting?
I mean, it is what it is. I have to do what I have to do. I just didn't realize, like you said, it's so common in the industry. I didn't realize until I listened to your podcast that
saving lives.
Yeah, literally. That it was illegal. Because right now I have her make her own schedule. Like, I felt like I was doing everything right. So when I heard that, I was told her. So I really just need to get the ball rolling and do it. It is what it is. Business owner, you know.
Yeah, and it again, and look at this as your journey of growth, so that you stop having the expectation that you should know everything and have it figured out and perfect before you make a move. While I don't recommend going that path, and that's why I do try to share as much information as possible, because most people don't know that that is an illegal misclassification, because so many people do it, and most people started off that way when they were fresh out of beauty school. And I have seen many businesses go bankrupt over lawsuits from this one thing because they didn't know any better. But again, you're like, great, now I know about it, and now it's a problem in my business that I need to build out the steps of what the solution is. An accountant is a great place to start to understand the financials. I think it's also going to work better for you to start to look at your business as a business and get yourself on payroll and get structure in your business, because you're just paying yourself when you want something. But that also comes with the downside of the opposite of that, is when you want something and you can't pay yourself because you didn't have the structure of the business in place.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you one question, just because this is what's coming up in my head. I'm going to make a statement, and I want you to tell me just initially what your gut reaction is.
Okay.
My business did $300,000 in sales this year. What's your gut reaction if that was your statement?
Cool.
Cool. Okay. What else?
That's not out of reach.
Okay. So I'm going to make another statement. I personally made $150,000 this year.
It's a good goal.
It's a good goal. Say more.
Feel like I can do that if I get all the processes right.
Okay.
Possible.
So what would that kind of money do for you personally?
I would invest it back in the business. That's my issue.
See? Mm-hmm. I know. Why can't you pay yourself?
I have issues. I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to uncover here, right? It sounds like there's a belief or something in there that either you're not worthy and deserving of money, or you have this narrative in your head that money is bad, or that being wealthy is bad, or that being rich is bad. And I'm trying to understand what that is, because you're self-sabotaging that end result, because you're not paying yourself even though you could.
Oh, I know completely I am self-sabotaging. I guess it's because I don't know. I've accomplished so much and I don't recognize it. Mm-hmm. And people tell me what I've done and what they see, like their views when they tell me what they see of me. I'm just like, okay, that's
you don't believe it?
No, like,
Or-
okay, I did whatever.
This is where inner child work is going to be really hard, but really healing. Because that belief was implanted in you sometime during childhood, is my guess, as it is for most of us, that something's mom or dad said, we took as Bible, as fact from childhood, and that is not serving you as an adult. Because here's the thing, what would happen if your business was so successful you could retire your husband?
Oh my God, I'd love it. We go traveling all the time. So
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you can't do that without paying yourself though.
Right.
Right. So it seems like we need to have a goal that scares you, but that also motivates you, that you really connect with, because it may be that the things that you think the money can get you right now just aren't all that exciting. So you'd rather put it back into the business, as opposed to I'm really working towards this exact financial goal because it's going to get me this lifestyle, this result, this whatever, that's really highly motivating to me. Right.
Oh.
And so a lot of times it can be like, you know, if your job's or your husband's job is super stressful and you're like, God, I would just love for him to not have to be at that job anymore, but we're so dependent on financially. If I can get myself to a financial goal where he doesn't have to be at that job anymore, sometimes that can be the motivating factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to figure out what that is for you and your family, of like, what is it that can motivate me? Like, even if it's like my children's college is paid for, or we can move to this neighborhood, or we can pay off the house, or we can travel more. Like what excites you about life that money can afford you? Because money is not everything, right? I totally get that. But
Mm-hmm.
it can afford you more experiences in life, or more stability, or more comfort, where we're not having to come from a place of scarcity, or I can't pay the bills, or, you know, whatever, where everything needs to go back in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So is there something that's coming up for you that like money is the tool to get you to a dream, a vision, a goal, a result?
My husband and I do want to buy a property and build our own house.
Beautiful. Do you know how much that's going to cost? Roughly ballpark it?
Around like
How much is that going to cost? Sorry, it cut out.
250.
250?
250,000.
Okay.
But that was before the price of lumber went up.
Right. And you know, whole bunch of other factors in there. But okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's like the dream and the goal, then now what if the $2,000 a month that you pay yourself starts to go into a fund? Maybe 500 of that goes into a fund that starts working towards chipping away at that 250,000. And as the business grows and as your revenue grows, now all of a sudden you can start doing those owners distribution. And maybe every time we do an owners distribution, 50% of that goes into that little fund, because then you actually have a plan of working to get to that point, rather than, wouldn't it be nice someday? It's like, no, actively we're contributing 10% of our income into that, or whatever, because then you start to look at your business of, okay, I'm never going to not pay myself because my goal is this. And if I don't pay myself, then not only are we risking our current house, but we don't have our dream house that we're working towards.
Right.
Right. And yes, there should be sometimes money going back into the business. And that's where we need to get a handle on the finances of how much do we reinvest in growth in the business versus making sure that the owner's taken care of. Most people are in the point where they have to pay themselves first before they have any of this other, I want to create savings, I want to create, you know, put money into a dream. So I think you're in a really great place where it's like you're not able to make payment on your bills and like survive.
Right.
But you can give yourself permission to start putting money aside for a dream, and that be the motivating factor to pay yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can use the business as something fun when, you know, if we want it to grow, right? If I want to now double, instead of $2,000 a month, I want to be able to make $4,000 a month. Well, then the business needs to grow to a certain revenue level, but I'm not going to sacrifice the time, any more time to do that. So I need to look at scalable business models. Does that mean I want the team? Or does that mean I want the lash artist education? So one quick way, if we're again looking at, if the goal is to build out, become an educator, be well known, or lash brand, or whatever it is, then I certainly wouldn't be spending time, energy, resources, risk on building out a team. So it may work better if she went to this booth rental situation, so that you actually free up time, energy, revenue to invest actually in what you really want to do.
True.
You see that? And we're back to Desire Island, right? So if the goal is, I want to have enough money to be able to go buy this property and build our dream home, and it's going to cost this much amount to do it, and I don't want to work more than 30 hours in a week or 20 hours a week or whatever that metric is, then we start to look at options that are going to get us there. Currently, I have a team member who's misclassified. Okay, so I can no longer continue down that path. I either need to W-2 them, or I need to go in on something that is more online education, so I have more location flexibility and time flexibility. That's what I did. And shift your focus on just getting that to completion and being set up, rather than splitting your focus and feeling like you've got so many things going on that neither one of them is getting you any closer to your goal.
Yeah.
All right. What are your biggest takeaways from this call?
I need to stop putting so much pressure on myself.
Boom. Yes. Make it fun. Keep going. What else?
I am doing what I need to do, and I just have to not take life as serious, I guess. Like, just be in the present, but make sure I'm doing everything legally. And just, I think the big thing was everything's a process. So need to accept that.
Everything is a process, both in like step-by-step process and a journey that you're on. Being an entrepreneur, the biggest piece of advice I would give anybody who's struggling is there's more reward in the journey of who you're becoming than when you get to who you want to be. And focusing solely on the end destination, you're going to get there and be like, meh. But if you can fall in love with the journey of entrepreneurship and what growth you're going through, that will continue to serve you. And that will be the driving factor. Like, how can I challenge myself more? How can I get to a new level? Entrepreneurship is personal development on crack. And that's why I love it so much. And even when business is tough, I still love the journey. I still love and can look back and reflect on how far I've come and I've grown. Because at the end of the day, like, people are going to come and go, money's going to come and go, all of these external results are going to come and go. But who I've become over the past 6 years of doing the Lashpreneur, I would not change for anything in the world, because I love who I am and how I handle things, even when I'm struggling. Even when I shut the business down last year, I knew that was a journey I had to go on because I could impact more people, and I love to impact people. So you fall in love with the journey rather than, when I get to XYZ dollars, then I'll feel worthy and deserving and like all of this was worth it.
Right.
Because that's going to be temporary. It's going to last for a couple days, maybe a week, but then you're on to the next thing of like, kind of like once you get married and after the wedding, you kind of have this letdown of like, well, I did all this planning for this one event. Now the day's over and I have nothing to look forward to. Now I just have to be married, right? Like, it's like the real work begins. So you might as well fall in love with like the journey of it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, Ashley, thank you so much. This is a great segue. If building out a team is something that you really want to do, and that is what you want to do to build out getting to your goal, we do have our Momentum Mastermind applications opening up again at the end of May. And that is a 6-month group coaching program for those that are building out teams legally and profitably. And we're going to have a whole lot more conversation around what that is in the coming weeks. And we're going to have interviews of the members that are already in the group and the results that they're getting. But that might be a great fit for you if you're looking to build out a team legally and profitably. So you can get on the wait list for it by going to lashpreneur.com/mastermind. And that way you'll be notified when we do open up applications again. You can learn more about the program. So just an invite to you and everybody listening.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, guys. And I will talk to you next week. Have a good one.